They told you this verse was about paradise, about comfort, about the eternal reward for the faithful. But what if I told you it was actually a final warning, a signal, a red alert from God himself? And if you misunderstand it, it could cost you everything. Tonight we're going deep into one of the most misinterpreted verses in the Bible, the one you've heard at funerals, in songs, and even preached from the pulpit, but never like this. This isn't just about heaven. It's about you, your choices, and the consequence that no one dares to talk about. Stay with us until chapter 27, where we reveal the one word in this verse that has been mistranslated for centuries and how it changes everything. The comforting verse you've always heard, "In my Father's house are many mansions." John 14:2. You've heard this one, right? It's spoken at nearly every Christian funeral. It's about heaven, peace, and being with God forever. But let me ask you, have you ever wondered why Jesus said this? Let's go to the context. He's speaking to the disciples, but not during a celebration. This is during the Last Supper, right after he tells Peter he's going to deny him. Would Jesus be comforting or warning? The scene you were never told. Jesus is about to be betrayed. He knows that death is just hours away. The disciples are confused, scared, and emotional. So why does he say, "Let not your heart be troubled"? It's not just comfort, it's preparation. He's saying, things are going to get hard, but don't fall away. What if the many mansions weren't about luxury, but assignment? Let not your heart be troubled, or else. Here comes the twist. Jesus says, let not your heart be troubled. That's not just a suggestion, it's a command. Why? Because troubled hearts lead to betrayal, doubt, and fear. This is the first layer of the warning. Jesus is saying, you're about to be shaken. If your heart fails, your faith will too. The hidden Greek word behind mansions, time to go deeper. The Greek word for mansions is monai. It doesn't mean mansion like we think today. It means dwelling place, temporary stop, even staging area. Now ask yourself, why would heaven have temporary dwellings? Could it mean not all who arrive stay? Stay with us, because in chapter 17, we uncover what Jesus meant by, "I go to prepare a place for you," and how it's not what modern Christianity preaches. The real threat to the disciples. The disciples weren't afraid of death. They were afraid of separation. Jesus wasn't just saying, "Don't worry, you'll see me again." He was warning, "You will be tested. Don't give up. Don't give in." This verse becomes a battle cry, not a lullaby. The modern misuse in church services. Let's get real. This verse is used in feel-good sermons to paint heaven like a spiritual resort. But Jesus never used this to sell eternal vacation packages. He used it to remind the disciples that faithfulness in chaos is the only road to the place he's preparing, heaven or holding place. What if the place isn't heaven, but a position, a role in the kingdom, a level of intimacy, a reward? This changes everything. The real meaning of "I go to prepare a place." Jesus wasn't talking about building mansions. He was talking about going to the cross. That's how he prepares the place, by dying, resurrecting, and conquering death. So if you ignore the sacrifice, you can't claim the space. Is this verse conditional? Here's the warning in disguise. The promise of the place is conditional on trust, obedience, and endurance. That's why he says, "If it were not so, I would have told you." Judas heard this too and still fell. Don't forget, Judas heard these same words. He was in the room. He heard about the place, but he never saw it. This is the haunting reality. Not all who hear the promise walk in it. The forgotten second part of the verse, John 14:3 says, "I will come again and receive you unto myself." The warning? He's coming back, but not for everyone. Only those who have kept their hearts from being troubled. Are you troubled? That might be a red flag. Jesus' command is clear. Don't let fear, doubt, or the world's chaos shake your faith. So if you're anxious every day, you might be drifting from the path. The cultural lens. that twisted the verse. Western culture turned this into a prosperity promise, but in the Middle East this was about honor, preparation, and sacrifice, the bridegroom analogy. In Jewish culture, a groom would leave to prepare a place in his father's house. That's what Jesus was referencing, and the bride had to be pure, waiting, faithful, or she'd be passed over. What happens to the unready bride? We'll cover that shocking answer in chapter 22. But for now, realize this verse was never meant to comfort the unfaithful. Why Jesus said, "If it were not so." This phrase is a legal statement. He's saying, I'm not giving false hope. What I'm saying is guaranteed if you obey. The place prepared by blood. Jesus prepared the place with his blood. So to claim the promise, we must walk the path of the cross. This verse demands a response. This verse isn't passive. It demands that you examine your faith, your life, your loyalty. The risk of complacency. Thinking this verse guarantees your place in heaven can make you lazy, but it's a conditional promise. How churches water it down. Modern preaching avoids the warning because it's uncomfortable. But Jesus didn't come to coddle. He came to call to repentance. I am the way isn't optional. Verse 6, I am the way, the truth, and the life. That's not a sweet saying. It's an ultimatum. The bride who wasn't ready now. Let's close the loop from chapter 15. In Matthew 25, the foolish virgins weren't ready, so they were locked out, even though they were waiting. The verse in John 14 echoes this same truth. The warning. Hidden in comfort, Jesus spoke this way because he knew the disciples needed strength, not sleep. Heaven isn't the end goal. Heaven isn't the prize. Jesus is. That's why he says, where I am, there you may be also. Heaven is a byproduct of relationship. If you chase heaven but ignore obedience, you've already missed the place he prepared. What prepared really means. Prepared doesn't mean automatically granted. It means ready for those who are ready. The mistranslated word that changes it all, remember our open loop? The word mansions should be translated as dwelling places or rooms of assignment. It's not about real estate. It's about responsibility. Can you lose your place? Absolutely. Just like Judas. The warning is this: you can be close to Jesus and still miss the promise. The true call of John 14. The verse is a call to stand firm, stay faithful, endure to the end. Final words, heaven is real, but not for everyone. Let this hit you. The verse wasn't given to the crowd. It was whispered to the faithful few. Heaven is promised, but only for those who overcome. They told you this verse was about heaven. But now you know, it's a warning, a plea, a call to live ready before it's too late. Subscribe for more deep biblical truths they won't preach on Sunday, and share this if you're ready for the real gospel.